and welcome to The Narrowing Path, Walking the Spiritual Walk. My name's Steve Van Eiderstein. Thank you all for joining me again today for April 10th, our 101st episode of James Allen's Daily Meditations. So I'm looking forward to it. Yesterday's was great. I hope everyone is having a great start to the seasonal change. It's coming on spring here in the United States, and that's always a welcomed transition. So it's the sun always brings a better mood. I can guarantee that. So, but here we go. This is going to be April 10th reading of James Allen's Daily Meditations. This will be fresh to you and fresh to me, meaning this will be the first time I've seen it or read it on this podcast, and you'll get my genuine response, reactions, observations, and what I relate to about the reading. So here we go. April 10th of James Allen's Daily Meditations. Whatsoever happens to the good man cannot cause him perplexity or sorrow, for he knows its cause and issue. In looking back on the self-life which he has transcended, the divinely enlightened man sees that all the afflictions of that life were his schoolmasters teaching him and leading him upward, and that in the measure that he penetrated their meaning, he lifted himself above them. They departed from him. Their mission to teach him having ended, they left him triumphant master of the field. For the lower cannot teach the higher. Ignorance cannot instruct wisdom. Evil cannot enlighten good. Nor can the pupil set lessons for the master. That which is transcended cannot reach up to that which transcends. Evil can only teach in its own sphere, where it is regarded as a master. In the sphere of good, it has no place, no authority. The strong traveler on the high road of truth knows no such thing as resignation to evil. He knows only obedience to good. That is a heck of a reading today. Holy cow. Just extremely, extremely in-depth and solid in what it's explaining and trying to say, I guess, is what I'll call it. Just saying, when you've reached past that self-driven life, those old things cannot bother you anymore. Because you understand where they're coming from. You understand what's driving them. Right? You've learned the lessons from that old life. And now any old situations or circumstances that might come to you, well, you know what it's about already. There's no need to get bothered by them. I really enjoyed that. It's that peace we talk about, the calm, the serenity, the understanding. It's all that good stuff. So, there it goes. It started with, whatsoever happens to the good man cannot cause him perplexity or sorrow, for he knows its cause and issue. Whatsoever happens to the good man cannot cause him perplexity or sorrow, for he knows its cause and issue. Right? So, when we've learned the lessons we're supposed to learn to get to that point of transcendence, to that point of understanding, to the point, that realm of goodness and spirituality, when we walk that walk and we continue to go forward, the things of the old life don't bother us anymore. The perplexity, they don't cause perplexity or sorrow. Regardless of what happens, we understand the motivations and the reasonings for them. And that's a blessing. At least from my perspective, it's a huge blessing to understand the motivations and why I get emotionally engaged and why I get emotionally, or used to get emotionally affected by these things. He goes on to say, in looking back on the self-life, so the life serving ourselves, right, in service to us, in service to our own desires and comforts, which he has transcended, So we're no longer doing that anymore. The divinely enlightened man sees that all the afflictions of that life were his schoolmasters teaching him and leading him upward. People used to tell me that when I first started getting into recovery, that all of these painful experiences, all of these emotional upheavals that I was going through, the anger, the sadness, the anxieties, the fears, the frustrations, like all of those negative things, the depression, all of those things, they are lessons waiting to be learned. There is value in every single one of those things. And every single one of those things is something I have to engage with, that I have to learn what I need to learn from it. It's hugely important to understand that our teachers are our experiences. Most importantly, the negative ones. They were our schoolmasters teaching us. They are leading us upward. He goes on to say, and that in the measure that he penetrated their meaning and lifted himself above them, they departed from him. So the more honestly and thoroughly you look at these things, because there's layers to this stuff. You'll look at a situation, you think you've got it figured out, and then you learn a little piece of knowledge or some perspective, or you experience something in another situation, and you really take another look at it, and you realize it goes deeper than you ever thought possible. And there's freedom in that. The more you understand and dissect, and you take an honest look at your part in things, the more freedom you will find. The more freedom you will find. Their mission to teach him having ended, they have left him triumphant master of the field. There they are. These things will leave us. They no longer bother us. The actions of others, the insults, the blatant disrespect, because we understand it's not our problem. It's not something we are doing, as long as we're living and following that spiritual life. But someone wants to act in a certain way, there's not anything we can do about it. It's on them. It's up to them to change it. And it has nothing to do with us. They have left him the triumphant master of that field. Have the understanding and the freedom to not be affected anymore. To not take it personally, maybe. For the lower cannot teach the higher. Those old qualms and those old fears and those old things cannot teach the higher. The ignorance cannot instruct wisdom. Where ignorance, meaning the sin, cannot instruct wisdom. When you've uncovered the sin, when you've addressed the sin, when you've taken that look at things and you've really done that mental work and you've purified your heart and your thoughts and your actions. Any other ignorance, other people's ignorance, situational, whatever it might be, cannot instruct wisdom. Evil cannot enlighten good. When you are serving good and you're doing the right things and you're purging evil from your life, sin and selfish thinking, right? That's what this is. It cannot touch the good, because evil is not a power. Evil is not a force that can compete with good. It's not a force at all. It's situational when someone's being selfish and self-serving or fearful. Nor can the pupil set lessons for the master. These things lose their power. That which is transcended cannot reach up to that which transcends. Evil, specifically, we're talking about here. These lessons, the pain, after that is transcended, after that is understood and expunged from your life, it cannot follow you. It cannot follow you into that spiritual realm of goodness and service. It's left behind. Evil can only teach in its own sphere, where it is regarded as a master. And in the sphere of good, it has no place, no authority. So there we go. Exactly. So evil can only occur with people that are serving themselves and not taking those honest looks. Because evil, like yesterday said, evil is an experience, not a power. Evil is situational. Evil is circumstantial. Evil is the outcome of actions. It is not the nature of somebody. And that's a very important distinction to make. You can only operate in that self-serving fear for those who are still only operating to make themselves comfortable, for those only seeking to make themselves feel pleasure and are completely only serving themselves. In the sphere of good, it has no place, no authority. Evil has no place, no authority when you're doing the good works. When you've learned the lessons you needed to learn and you've transcended those situations. And there will always be stuff to learn and to grow through. I do believe that. But there does come a time where any and all situations seem to roll right off the bat. There's a moment of acceptance as to things are what they are. He wraps it up with, the strong traveler on the high road of truth knows no such thing as resignation of evil to evil. He knows only obedience to good. So, there we go. We serve and we practice spiritual principles and values in the spiritual life, and that is all we end up knowing. That is all we serve. Evil has no bearing on us anymore because we understand it. And we've moved past that in our life. And thank God for that. Thank the words of wisdom that we've been given and blessed with. So, all right, well, that wraps it up for today. A great reading. You know, if you need encouragement to walk this path and to continue to move forward on this path and face those lessons that we just discussed, and we were talking about the pain of life when we live in a life-serving self, this is it. This is the encouragement you need to continue to dissect those things and grow through them. There's relief, and there's freedom, and there's peace and joy and serenity on the other side. And power to walk through every day. So, thank you all for joining me today for April 10th's reading. Really a fantastic reading, and I'm looking forward to keeping on going with this and seeing what April brings us. So thank you all for joining me today, and until next time, thanks.